Hello everyone, I'm John with JP Strategic Investments, and today I'm going to go over a shareholder letter that we just got today from Patriot One Technologies' new CEO, Peter Evans. This is the first time that Peter has really communicated with shareholders about his take on the company and what his plans are for the company going forward. So I'm going to walk you guys through this letter section by section, and then I'll give you guys my opinion on what this means for the company and the stock going forward. So let's dive right in. So he starts off the letter by saying that this letter will be the first of many regular communications to shareholders. This right here is definitely a good thing because many Patriot One shareholders, myself included, have voiced our opinions in the past about Patriot One's lack of communication with shareholders. So hopefully he follows through on this and the company becomes more transparent with shareholders. Next, he goes into his observations from the month or so that he has been CEO. So the first thing he touches on here is the market demand. He says that over the past month or so, he has met with more than 24 prospects and customers and 12 partners through virtual meetings. Now, we kind of already knew this. Patriot One has been saying for a while that there are interested customers and resale partners, but there hasn't been anything concrete aside from the Plaza Casino in Las Vegas. This is promising to hear him mention, but again, there's nothing concrete here. He does say, though, that many of these customers would like to begin site surveys as soon as COVID restrictions are lifted. This is good because it means that these customers are fairly committed to use Patriot One's products and are just waiting on the survey to be done. And he goes on to mention that they have some potentially large customers like casinos, sports franchises, and entertainment venues that have expressed interest in working with Patriot One. But again, there's no guarantees here, and this isn't major news to most shareholders. He summarizes this section of the letter by saying that demand has not diminished. Personally, I would have loved to hear that demand is growing, but realistically, it's hard to create a ton of demand without having your products out there for customers to see, so I'm okay with this. In the next section, he goes over the products and technology, and unfortunately, there's nothing really new here. He basically summarizes Patriot One's current product line and accomplishments from 2020, and he also brushes over CMR by saying that they are working on it in tandem with the MSG platform and testing new integrations to meet customer needs. I think a lot of shareholders would have liked a little more information on this, so it's unfortunate that he didn't elaborate any further. Next, he gives a quick shout out to the Patriot One team and then gets into his plan for 2021, which is what I think most shareholders are interested in. He mentions that he has taken several steps to set the company up for success in 2021, but cautions shareholders that growth will not happen overnight and that there is a ramp time for changes to take effect. And of course, he mentions that COVID could have unforeseen effects on the business. I think this is good to mention because I think many investors were hoping that a new CEO would show some changes in their most recent earnings report and were disappointed to see little changed. I mentioned in my review of their earnings that while I was somewhat disappointed with the earnings, I wanted to give Peter a chance to show what he can really do, and that is why I actually picked up some more shares in the recent dip after earnings. Peter goes on in the letter to outline 4 specific steps that he has taken to point the company in the right direction. The first thing he mentions is getting focused and removing distractions. So obviously Peter wants to show some results soon, and so he's probably putting the main focus on marketing and sales right now so that the company can focus on bringing in some revenue. The next thing that he mentions is cutting non-strategic costs, and this is actually something we got to see in action in their most recent earnings report, as they were able to reduce general and administrative costs by 9% through the closure of non-strategic offices. The next thing he is doing is building a professional and highly focused sales organization. As I mentioned before, he wants to focus on marketing and sales, and it's good to see that their first sales representatives start this week and are already in training. And of course, the last thing on the list is building a professional marketing organization. And he says that they have redesigned their marketing strategy, focusing on building awareness, interest, and most importantly, a pipeline of qualified opportunities with customers in specific target market segments where they have a good product market fit. All of this is good to hear, and it's nice to see that most of these steps are already underway. Peter concludes the letter by summarizing his points and reiterating that shareholder communication will be more regular going forward. He says that going forward, our investor communications plan will be to provide a State of the Business CEO newsletter once per quarter in addition to our quarterly financial reporting. From time to time, we will be holding additional sessions such as Facebook Live sessions or other such activities. This is great news, and I'm looking forward to getting more transparent news from the company. Overall, I'm glad Peter decided to give these updates, and I think most shareholders will appreciate them. As far as the content of the actual letter, there weren't too many things that were new, but it is promising to see that Peter has put together a plan and has already begun to execute on it. I'm glad to see that he is confident in Patriot One's future, and I'm excited to see what he can do. I hope you enjoyed this analysis, and if you did, please consider liking and subscribing. Leave a comment below letting me know what you think of this letter, and other than that, have a great day.